What's up, everyone? It's Phoenix here, bringing you guys another review. This time, we're reviewing Shazam. So, I saw this literally today. Okay, came out yesterday, obviously April 5th. But I just saw it today, and boy. This movie is just such a delight. There are so many secrets about this film that is imperative to be kept a secret. Okay? And they need to be kept a secret because they're just so good in the moment. They're not necessarily surprises, unless you haven't read the comics, but they are it's very delightful when you first see them. So I'm not going to say what those are, at least not until the spoiler half of the review. But this is a beautiful film. This is a beautiful film. This is almost like Elf, but with superheroes. But it's more than that. It has the humor, it has a lot of fun moments, but it also has the serious and kind of dark moments as well. It's like a great bundle of joy mixed with dark and depression. And it's just such a fun movie. I highly recommend this to any superhero film fan. To any superhero fan, whether you're DC or Marvel. I recommend watching this film right here. This film right here. Because it is so unlike other superhero movies, and yet so like other superhero movies at the same time. This movie is so fun that I'm pretty sure even Marvel fans will enjoy this. Even the fans who don't know what the heck this movie even is will enjoy this film. Because it is a beauty. And I do mean this. And I'm not just talking from a biased standpoint. And maybe I am a little bit biased. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just giving you my opinion. This film is definitely worth a watch. Definitely worth a watch. Definitely watch this film. I can't tell you if you're going to like it or dislike it, because it depends on the type of person you are. But I can tell you that you are not going to regret watching this film right here. You are not going to regret it. Because it is a beautiful work. And it's a masterpiece. Well, almost a masterpiece. It is definitely way more entertaining and way more fun and much better than its female counterpart version, Captain Marvel. Now, some people might disagree with that. I mean, I didn't really like Captain Marvel to begin with. It wasn't really a compelling film, in my opinion. But this film brought new things to the table. It wasn't just your what is it called? Cookie cutter superhero film that Marvel always uses. This is so unique and so fun that it just boggles my mind. It's so good that I would almost argue that it is probably one of the best DC films thus far. Better than Aquaman? Well, it's a little bit harder to compare because it's a different type of movie. So it's not something that's really comparable. For one, it depends on your sense of humor, if you have a sense of humor. And two, there's a lot of factors into it. You know, I can see like some people not really liking this film, but there is something in this film for everyone. For the DC fans, for the superhero fans, for the Marvel fans, and even for just your old average moviegoer. You like a comedy? Watch this film. You like a superhero movie? Watch this film. It's so good that I can't even begin to describe it. Like, Aquaman is a beautiful masterpiece with its visual effects and its cinematography. But this film right here is a masterpiece through its comedy and dialogue and story-driven movie. It has everything you could ever wish for in a Shazam movie. In a Captain Marvel movie. This is how you make a Captain Marvel movie. This is how you make Captain Marvel character. There's so much fun in this movie that even if you don't like superheroes, you'll at least be able to appreciate this film right here. And if you don't appreciate it, and if you don't end up liking it, that's okay. I mean, we can have different opinions. But this movie, definitely worth at least one watch. I might even go see it again when it comes at some point, because it's such a good movie. It is so good. It is so good. And I mean it. I 100% mean it. Now, we're going to get into some spoilers for a second. But before we get into the spoilers, let me rate this movie. I don't remember what I ranked Aquaman. You know what? I wouldn't rank it a 10 out of 10, because those are very rare. I really don't rank movies a 10 out of 10. This one comes really close to it. It's a different type of film, you have to understand. It's a different type of film. It is such a gold mine in so many areas. Not necessarily ways that you would expect, you know. It's not like visually compelling or anything like that. But there's so much more to this film than just that. It has great characters. It has a great story. It has a great, you know, comedy. Again, this is basically a comedic superhero film, if you will. It almost spoofs itself. It's such a good movie. Just say the word. Just call my name and let the powers be summoned or something like that. I would rate this movie a 9.5. Not quite perfect, because again, I don't think any movie is perfect, but still really good. Really good. Oh my gosh. This movie is so fun. And we're about to get into the spoilers. So, let's move this over here, and we shall get into those spoilers. Let me get this. Okay. So, holy crap. That movie was so good. Oh my gosh. The way that they set up the villain was so interesting. Now, most people would expect there to have Black Adam as the villain, because he is one of the most iconic Shazam villains. However, I almost like that they didn't do a Black Adam storyline, because while Black Adam is the more common and more known Shazam villain, the wizard is just as important to the storyline. He's he's how should I put this? He's basically one of the first villains that Shazam ever encounters, and it's part of his comic book origins as well. Like, I will pull it up right here. He's from like the classic era. The Wizard was one of the first Shazam villains. While he is not as well known as Black Adam, he is one of the original Shazam villains. And this movie is basically really close to its original source. Now, obviously, they changed a few things. For example, they had Mary, they had Freddy, they had all these people that are technically related to Billy in the comics. Mary is his cousin in the comics. But they are all part of the Shazam family, basically, or what used to be the Captain Marvel family. So we had Captain Marvel, Shazam. We had Mary, Miss Marvel, which was Mary Batson. We had let's see, I forget the others. We had the Marvel family. There was, again, like I said, Mary. Freddy was Captain Marvel Jr. Then there's Eugene, Pedro, Darla, which are all, again, part of the Shazam family. I'm pretty sure Mary Marvel was. Oh no! It's not his cousin. Mary Marvel. Yeah, Mary Marvel. That's her name. Mary Marvel, which was her superhero name, but she was actually Billy's twin sister. She was actually his twin sister, who was basically lost. And it's interesting to kind of see how they kind of used some of those comic book names to play around with. Now, obviously, in this case, in this movie, they're not related bloodly. They're not related by blood, obviously, in this version. But the others are still Fosters. That is true. Mary is supposed to be his twin, but they changed it in this film so that Mary is, just one of the foster kids that he gets, adopted into. And, that's totally fine. That doesn't really matter, and I think it works with the storyline that they're going with. But I was surprised because I didn't expect to see them all in this film. And they did it. They did it. They kept the costumes, first of all. They kept, Mary's, skirt and Darla's, little costume. They kept them all. They did all the suits in this movie's style. And it was such a great moment to see them all there. Because I had a feeling that they were going to do Mary. I had a feeling that they were going to do Mary Marvel. But I wasn't sure if they were going to do them all. It was interesting to see that in theaters and have that experience of seeing them all there for the first time. Now, some of you might have heard that there was going to be this Superman cameo, and there was. There was. Interesting enough, there was. But you might have noticed that there wasn't a face attached to that cameo. And there's a perfectly reasonable explanation for that. See, basically what happened is Henry Cavill, the person who plays Superman, or did play Superman, basically refused to do the cameo, because he was filming for The Witcher, which he really shouldn't have made that obligation. But either way, Henry Cavill was supposed to do a cameo in Shazam, right, to kind of tie in like the universe basically. But he basically refused to do it. And so they basically had to edit it so that there was still the Superman cameo. And I wasn't honestly sure if there was going to be a cameo, but they did do it. But they had to edit it so that it would hide his face, because that was not Henry Cavill in the cameo, but it was still Superman. And obviously, no one can tell that it's not him unless you know that it's not him, because it's not him, because he refused to do the cameo. But it still works. It still works. And honestly, I almost prefer it this way, because we know now that Superman and Shazam are in the same universe, and they're buddies. They're buddies. So that's not going to be an issue with tying that in. But it doesn't cause the issue of needing to find somebody else. It doesn't. Basically, okay. It doesn't step on Shazam's shoes by showing Superman in there. Like, it barely shows Superman in there, right? So Shazam still has the credit for the movie, but we still have this neat little Easter egg that's still there. And I always prefer it that way. Then, we didn't see Superman's face, but we still get that Superman's there, and like it's easily tied in to this universe that they are building. Whether it's connected or not, that's still up in the air, but there's still room to put Shazam right in there, because we know that he is, he has connections to Superman. That was a very good way to kind of connect them without causing issues, basically. Without, people complaining, oh, that's not, Henry Cavill, what's this? Screw Shazam, right? It's a way of handling it professionally and also not screwing themselves over in the long run, right? Because everybody gets it. That's Superman. That was Superman at the end of the movie. But now it's a question of, does Henry Cavill want to come back as Superman, or are they going to hire somebody else? That's the question. And in this case, they don't have to worry about that because they didn't show his face. So either way, it's gonna still be Superman. It just might not be Henry Cavill as Superman. And I think that was handled really well. I really enjoyed this movie. I did. And that's why I ranked it as a 9.5. Because it kept my interest the entire time. There are action sequences, but there's also comedy sequences, and there was something really for everyone. The villain was great. It wasn't Black Adam, but again, the Wizard is still a significant Shazam villain. And it's almost good that they didn't do Black Adam yet, because that leaves room for sequels. There was that end credits scene that was very interesting. It was very interesting, and I don't know what to think about it. Like, you have to have seen the end credits scene in order to understand what I'm talking about. But there's multiple theories of what it could be. It could be hinting towards Black Adam, because it says, there's more ways than one to get, to get magic. And that could be hinting towards a Black Adam coming in hot. It's interesting. It's interesting. But it also could be something else. You know, there's theories that it could be Brainiac. You know, the 7 realms are coming. That could be a Brainiac thing. Or it could be a dark side thing. You know, the 7 realms magic, it's not too far-fetched that could be hinting towards a dark side with the antimatter. Or whatever you call it. Like, there's so much eeriness and there's so much hinting towards it. That is very interesting. Because they were going to do Darkseid. They were actually going to do Darkseid in Justice League Part 1. You know, there's going to be a 2-parter, and Darkseid was going to be part of that. But they never did it. So, with the 7 realms coming together, and, you know, this guy, and maybe it's possible that they could tie in a little Darkseid in there. Or they could do a Brainiac. Or they could do a Black Adam. There's so many possibilities of it happening. Or maybe they're hinting towards a Dr. Fate. Could be. You know, Dr. Fate doesn't get his magic from, you know, Shazam, obviously, the wizard. He gets it from something else. So maybe they'd be doing a Dr. Fate film. And having Shazam and Dr. Fate meet with each other and be like, yo, this guy has more magic again, and go up against him, you know, kind of teaming up. Yeah, that'd be pretty sick if they had a Dr. Fate and Shazam crossover. Heck yeah, I'd be down for that. You know, and that's probably not gonna happen, but you know, I'd still be down for it. There is so much hinting in this end credits. It's very, very interesting. It could also just be nothing at all. We're just gonna have, you know, the wizard be coming again. There's also another villain that it could be, and it's also a different Shazam villain called Mr. Mind. And Mr. Mind, Mr. Mind is another Shazam villain. You know, there's basically only 3 Shazam villains. Obviously, Black Adam, Dr. Sivana, you know, the wizard in this case, and Mr. Mind. Mr. Mind, basically, you know, it's a worm. It's a worm that basically has a radio on his neck, and he communicates to these different villains, and it amplifies his thoughts as well. And it's an interesting villain to do. They could have a Mr. Mind and Sivana and Dr. Sivana in the second one. Or, you know, maybe, you know, we have Tweedledee and we have Tweedledum right now, Dr. Sivana and Mr. Mind. We're missing just one more. Could Shazam 2 possibly have all 3 villains at the same time? Would it be too much? I don't know. Well, I don't really think it would be too much, because honestly, they're not really that significant villains. And Shazam is a pretty powerful character, and can be a pretty powerful character, especially since they have all 7 of them. I think there's 7 of them. Anyways, but since they have all of the Shazam family, all of the Shazam family could potentially go after all 3 villains, Mr. Mind, Dr. Sivana, and Black Adam. We know that Black Adam is going to be introduced through Suicide Squad 2, apparently, if that's still happening, you know, through, you know, Dwayne Johnson being Black Adam. But just imagine if we had a Shazam 2 where we had all 3 villains. That could be a very interesting thing to do. Because, I mean, I'm not really sure how they would do a Shazam 2 yet. But I think if there was anything to make this film a little bit more interesting, it would be to have all three villains, to have Black Adam, to have the Wizard, to have Mr. Mind, to have all of them teaming up together to take down the Shazam family. That would be very interesting, and I think it would really, really work. Especially after Suicide Squad 2 happens, and then they have Shazam happening. Well, it could be just very interesting to have them kind of cross paths and kind of hint towards a connecting of universes. And in fact, they could easily, if they wanted to, have Shazam basically connect the entire universe. Because we've already seen that Shazam and Superman are connected to each other. And then we could see, Shazam and Black Adam being connected to each other. And then we could have, Black Adam be in Suicide Squad 2 and, be connected to that. And then we make it, even in Suicide Squad 2, we could have a Batman cameo and have that happen. And then it's just a whole long train. And maybe even in Wonder Woman 84, we could have some hinting towards that. We had, the comics where, in the end not in the end credits, but in the credits, where it's basically, Shazam, steals Batman's car and asks Wonder Woman to prom. We could have references to that. It would be very interesting to see Shazam be the one to connect all of this together and bring it back to a cinematic universe. Because right now it's kind of up in the air. Is this a cinematic universe or what? What is this exactly? And it's not entirely clear. But there is still room to connect the dots and make it all happen, and then have a Justice League 2 that is, the Justice League versus Darkseid. They could easily do that. Or it doesn't have to be Darkseid, it could be Brainiac, it could be pretty much any supervillain. I mean, or it could just be the Injustice Gang, that could be a thing with, having Lex Luthor and Deathstroke and have all of these people. There's so much room for potential in here, and I think they're really heading in the right direction. We're having a Batman film coming up. We're having, the Birds of Prey. We're going to have, Suicide Squad. And since Shazam is doing really well right now, it's at 50 million right now. It's 60 million in total, 64 million in total, and it's I think it's 44 million foreign and something million domestic. I don't remember, but it's doing really well. I mean, again, it was released yesterday. I saw it today. It was released yesterday, and it's currently still getting a lot of traction, and I think it's going to get a lot of traction now that the reviews are coming in, and they're really positive. And honestly, this is a film really worth watching. Let me see. Box office. Shazam. I really think this movie could get into the billion box office. It could do it. I think it could. I honestly think it could. It is such a beauty. It's so open to pretty much anyone. Like, the reason why it works so well is because it is a comedy, but it's also a superhero movie. Put those two together, and you have people all over the world wanting to watch it. Right now, it's at 23,825,000 domestically and 44 million foreign. And it's sitting at 667,825,000 100,000. And it's still growing. Again, this is the second day, okay? And I definitely know there's a lot of people wanting to go see this movie. And so that's going to stack up. And then, we'll see by the end of this week, will it do it? Because it's already halfway there to, what would that be? It's already halfway to 100 million. It's not too far away from, 1 billion. I think it could do it. I'm hoping they could do it because it's a really good film. But that's all I have to say about that. Again, I highly recommend going to see this movie. There's such goodness in this film. It's really good. And I don't think you are going to regret it. I think you're going to regret it if you don't see it. Because then you're going to wonder, how good was it? And you'll never know because, you're never going to see it. Unless you do see it right now in theaters. Anyways. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe for more content. And peace out, guys. It's been a blast. I don't know why I said it like that.